New and uninitiated may be asking, what is last hitting? Well, quite simply, it is the act of getting the killing blow on a minion so that you receive gold. Experience is rewarded just for being nearby, but you actually have to kill it to get the monies. Now, I know I've said before that killing towers and eventually the Nexus is what the game is all about, but in order to do that, you have to get through the enemy team, and the best way to get ahead of them to do that is through gold gain. Even if you don't play particularly well otherwise, having a gold advantage and, thusly, an item advantage will help you out immensely. Now to talk about this, we're going to need to do a little bit of math. I know many of you hate math, and it's the bane of your existence, and you have a sworn oath of vengeance against your geometry teacher this very day, but don't worry, it's pretty basic stuff. So, what's the base value for a kill on an enemy champion? 300 gold? You can get that with about 16 minion kills, or just under 3 waves. And the gold value of minions goes up over time. A wave of minions spawns every 30 seconds, beginning 1 minute and 30 seconds after the game has begun. Each wave contains 3 melee minions and 3 caster minions. Melee minions are beefier, with 445 base health and gaining more armor over time than caster minions do. Consequently, they are worth more gold, 20 to start and increasing by 0.5 every 3 minutes. Caster minions are weaker, with 280 base health, but deal more damage. With the greater ease of killing them, they are only worth 15 gold each to start, with the same increase over time. Additionally, a siege minion spawns every 3 waves, or every 2 waves after the 35-minute mark. These suckers start with a whopping 700 health, and actual armor values to boot. Consequently, they are also worth considerably more gold, 40 gold to start, increasing by 1 every 3 minutes. It is most critical to last hit well early in the game, during the laning phase. Not only is it important because getting an early advantage allows you to leverage it earlier, this is also the time when it's most difficult to do, because champions are at their weakest. Furthermore, in the laning phase, last hitting is safer and much more defined, as it were. The nearest tower is close by, and you only need to worry about minions between you and your enemy's outer towers. But once one of those is down, it becomes much less safe to do, and more of your time will be spent teamfighting over towers and objectives. It's important to remember to keep farming minions throughout the game. If you gained an advantage early, you'll lose it if you don't. Conversely, if you do well at farming later, you can close the gap between you and your enemies if you're far behind. All champions last hit differently. There are many factors to this. There's base attack damage, for example, ranging from 42 for Karthus to 58 for Maokai. There's attack speed as well, which is affected by what point in the animation damage is dealt. And then there's range. Melee champions are straightforward there, but range champions also have to worry about the missile speed of their projectile. Some, like Caitlyn, are near instantaneous. Others, like Soraka, take a little while to fly to their target. If there's one thing I can say to help you last hit with basic attacks though, it's to know your character's range. You don't want to be walking toward the target when you could be hitting it. You can find your champion's basic attack range by hovering over your attack damage in the bottom left. Most champions' abilities can help them out last hitting as well, often utterly changing how they do it. Nasus, for example, wants to try and last hit almost exclusively with Siphoning Strike in order to make it stronger for the late game. Once it hits level 3, Morgana can use Tormented Soil to take out the caster minions all at once. With all this variation, other than a few tips I'll get to later, I really can't tell you how to last hit. However, I can tell you how to practice. If you really want to get better at last hitting with no distractions, start a custom game with your champion of choice. Just you, no one else. If you want a little bit of an extra challenge, put a bot on the other team to lane against. You will play this game with no masteries, no runes, and no items. Now sit there and practice only getting the killing blow on minions. If you can do this effectively, getting say 70 to 80% of last hits, then you will be a god among men in regular games. The margin of error you had there will shrink significantly with the addition of all your normal game trappings. It's often easy to take for granted how much those things add. In the description below this video is a link to a creep score calculator. This is a really handy tool that can tell you how much gold you're getting, how much you missed, and what percentage of minions you're getting with your creep score. With this tool, for example, for 80% of last hits, we can see that you should shoot for a creep score of 86 by the 10-minute mark and 189 by 20 minutes. It's a lot of hard work and practice, but I'm sure you can do it. Furthermore, it shows you just how many minions and how much gold you miss out on by not getting kills. At that same 80%, at 20 minutes, you can see that you've missed out on 45 minion kills, or about 7.5 waves, and just over 1,000 gold. Trying to last hit ties in well with general game theory about pushing in the early laning phase. If you want to last hit well, don't push your lane. It's difficult to do under the enemy's tower, as they can safely harass you underneath it, while also leaving you susceptible to ganks. On the other hand, some champions have a terribly difficult time last hitting underneath a tower due to low attack speeds and base damage. If your enemies are playing champions with these kinds of troubles, by all means, push and force them to lose gold. If you are forced to last hit under your own tower, there are a few facts you should know and, in fact, memorize. First, a melee champion at full health will take the tower 3 shots to kill. The second shot leaving it with extremely low health. If you are farming under your tower, wait until the tower has shot it twice to strike for easy gold. Similarly, it will take a tower 2 shots to kill a caster minion with full health, but this one's a little different. The first shot will not leave a caster minion low enough for most champions to one-shot in the early game. Therefore, hit the minion once before the tower hits it, and once after. Your own minions fighting their enemy will complicate matters a little more. Learn to prioritize minions carefully. In most cases, during the laning phase, you will want to be constantly moving in order to make it more difficult for your enemies to harass you. Unfortunately, this can often make it more difficult for you to last hit, especially if you're playing a melee champion. Once you have identified the next minion to be in a last hittable health range, be sure that you're in range to use your basic attack or abilities to kill them. You can also hit the S key to stop yourself from moving in order to be certain of this. Just make sure you won't get attacked for it. One final note is to be sure to use the attack move function. In the basic game setup, you can do this by hitting the A button and clicking either a target or the ground. Your champion will move toward the chosen location and attack the first enemy within range, or the chosen target if you clicked something in particular. This is important, as if you misclick with the normal right click to move or attack, you'll just end up walking towards the minions instead of killing them, and that's never useful, as it'll probably put you in range for your enemies to shoot you in the face. Practice last hitting and see just how much your game improves by just adding that. With that, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this guide, please let me know by hitting the like button. Speak up in the comments below if you have advice or questions. We're all here to learn. Subscribe for future content, including champion guides, game